I haven't had sex yet, but you see, like that's not really like a big thing because people have sex all the time, yeah, and they all say, yeah, like sex is all good, it's all great, like you feel like a really good buzz from it, but you see, it's also like a big responsibility, and if I were to get a girl pregnant or have like the girl have like an abortion, then what would that say for my life and what would that say for hers? Like, that's one of the big problems, and also you can get a STI, and that would not as well change my life, but it would also really affect hers as well. Like, the one thing that my mother always told me was that when my father was young, and they were both young, that he impregnated my mother, and he left us when I was at a very young age. So I never really had like that father figure to kind of like look up to, if you know what I mean. Like he only like came back into my life when I was about, let's say like 6 or 7 years old. And that's when he kind of like used to like kind of like buy me little things there and there. But like every time I made a conscious decision to go and meet him, my mum would always tell me like, okay, you need to remember what he did to me. And I always said to myself, I would keep that right at the back of my mind and say to myself that I'm going to honor my mother by just remembering not to have sex at this age because of the implications that can follow one, like STIs, etc. So I just really wanted to just remember that. I mean, I think the first time I wanted to have sex, I was about 14 years old. And I used to get all of these feelings, like I wanted to have sex. But then I just had to say to myself, like, is it really worth it? Like the abortions and the STIs, I just said to myself that I'm just too young for them kind of things. And I mean, if I wanted to, and I could just feel the pleasure from another person, but it's a good thing that I haven't found that person to do it with because then I'd get easily influenced to do it. So therefore, I haven't really found no one to do it with, which is a good thing, you could say. But then again, I still have those kind of feelings. And when I get them feelings, I just want to rush into it and do it. But I have to keep at the back of my mind that what's going to happen, what's going to follow on, like what's going to happen to the girl. Is she going to have a good life if I do this? It's just going to ruin her life and ruin mine in the process. But then when I had my first girlfriend, it's like she would kind of like feel downstairs and she would kind of like kiss my neck and them things. But I never took the full step. I never said to her, okay, let's have sex. I just said, like, we need to just take it easy and just keep it on one level. And she respected that. So we used to just touch each other up, but nothing would ever go like further than that. Because she was scared of stuff, like she had bad experiences in the past, like, and she's kind of afraid of sperm as well. So I always just kept that at the back of my mind. And just listened to what my mother told me and said just not to have sex. That's basically what she told me. Okay, I'm Montel Britton, and I played Michael, and he's 17 years old. And it was really interesting to read. Like, I felt like I actually became that character, and it felt like I was in his position where he wanted to have sex, but he just didn't do it. Like, even as a young person, like, you have them feelings sometimes, like even when you're younger, like, you want to have sex, but in the back of your mind, you know, you're not going to know what you're doing because you're not old enough yet, you're not smart enough to handle those kind of things. I relate to what he was saying because there's a lot of influence around sex, and young people, like, they love to glamorize things, and they love to say, oh yeah, sex is the best thing and that, but it's not the most important thing in life, and everything comes within its time. That's one thing that my parents always told me. Like, it always comes within its time, so I don't have to rush into things, don't feel pressured into things, and that's something I've always kept at the back of my head anyway, that when I'm ready to have sex, I'll have it.